I will go ahead and get started. Mahalo again, everyone, for being here tonight. Aloha and welcome to our monthly Know Your Ocean speaker series. Tonight's presentation will explore managing stormwater quality Mauka to Makai and what you can do. My name is Jill Wirt and I'm a project manager with Maui Nui Marine Resource Council, and I'll be your MC tonight. Mahalo to everyone who is here. Maui Nui Marine Resource Council is celebrating 15 years of working for clean ocean water, healthy coral reefs, and abundant native fish. Tonight's presentation is part of Maui Nui Marine Resource Council's monthly Know Your Ocean speaker series, usually held on the first Wednesday of each month at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom. This monthly series is supported by the County of Maui Office of Climate Change, Resiliency, and Sustainability. We invite you to submit any questions by using the Q&A button on the lower edge of your screen, and we'll leave some time at the end of the presentation to answer your questions. We'll have a couple other people joining us for the Q&A session as well. But for tonight, I will go ahead and introduce our presenter. Abby Haneke is an environmental engineer with a consulting firm, Haley Aldrich Inc. here on Maui. She has worked on the County of Maui's Stormwater Management Program for nearly 2 years. Some of her favorite work has been teaching students at Maui Waiana Intermediate School about stormwater quality, helping to organize the annual construction and post-construction best management practices workshop, and inspecting outfalls in the county for compliance. She's passionate about sharing ways Maui residents can contribute to stormwater quality and educating the community on the stormwater systems in our county. Mahalo, Abby, for being here. Take it away.
Thank you, Jill. Well, I'm gonna share my screen. All right. Okay, we'll get started. Oh, let me switch screens. Is it showing the presentation or just my?
It's showing the PowerPoint view right now.
Okay, let me switch to this page. I think that is the PowerPoint.
Yes.
All right, cool. So we'll get started. Like Jill presented, this is our Managing Stormwater Quality Mauka to Makai, What Can You Do presentation. My name is Abby Haneke. I work with Haley Aldrich. I help the County of Maui with their stormwater management program. And I got really into stormwater because it's an easy way to help with the environment and protecting it from any pollution. And it's something that you notice day to day. I'm hoping that as we go through our presentation, you'll pick up on things that maybe you already do that you don't know affect stormwater quality, maybe some things that you already know affect stormwater quality, or additionally, things that you can add into things that you do day to day and help us out with mitigating stormwater pollution. So what is stormwater pollution? Or we'll start with what is stormwater runoff. Can you see? Let's see if I can move that. There we go. So rain flowing over land or impervious surfaces is stormwater runoff. So impervious surfaces are things like the roof of your house, concrete sidewalks or your driveway, and asphalt roadway. And as these pollutants get carried into the storm drain system, they can pick up harmful pollutants like motor oil or fertilizers in your vegetation, dog poop, trash, and debris, and those get carried into the streams and oceans. And stormwater is typically not treated before it is discharged. The slide that we have on the right is from Park City in their municipality to reach out to the rest of the public in gaining their help in mitigating stormwater pollution. So you can see that many municipalities across the nation are thinking about this issue. The County of Maui has a small MS4 program and it is issued by the EPA. A large portion of the targets that we're trying to meet with our permit involve public participation. So you can just see how important public involvement is in reducing the impacts of stormwater pollution on water quality. There we go. All right, first we'll discuss a few potential pollutants, and then we'll get into ways that we can mitigate those, starting with fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides. Ways that these get discharged is by overuse, improper storage of the chemical containers, and leaks and spills. Similarly, oil, gas, and chemicals, improper storage of those chemicals and gas cans, oil cans, any leaks or spills, and then also oil disposal. Trash and debris is something that's pretty common. It should be something that we all see, unfortunately, with litter on the streets or on our beaches, improper disposal of trash and debris, and then also uncovered trash bins or overflowing trash bins. Another one is, we call it green waste. This is something that's less commonly known as a potential pollutant to stormwater, but things like grass clippings, leaf litter, you see it a lot as you're driving around, just grass clippings getting blown into the gutters, not picked up and disposed of properly. Any bare spots in your grass or on the side of a slope, that dirt can get carried by stormwater runoff into our waterways. And then animal waste, failure to clean that up, and then improper disposal. So what can you do? This is the part where hopefully your ears are perking up. You can start gaining ideas of things that you can integrate into your own life. Starting with Call of Duty. This is our little comedic break. And if my dog looked anything like the one on the right, I would have more than just my one. But yeah, they can't do it themselves. You got to pick up for your pets. Making sure to dispose of the waste in a proper storage container, throw it in a dumpster or a covered trash bin. And making sure that you don't just leave it where it is. Dog poop can carry nutrients and bacteria and other pathogens into our waterways that can adversely impact the water quality as well as aquatic life, and it's dangerous to human life as well. The bacteria and pathogens are unsafe. Vehicle maintenance. So a lot of times you'll see little oil stains, oil spots on the road or on your driveway. That's a good indicator that you need to get your car checked, bring it in for a service repair. If you see a leak, you should clean it up with rags and absorbent material. A lot of times kitty litter works well. Just making sure that you dispose of all of that cleaned up material properly. Checking your car for fluid leaks as well is a great way to help make sure that none of those chemicals or oil gets discharged. Utilizing a recycled car wash when possible. That's our top recommendation for when you want to get your car washed. They do a great job of making sure that all of the soapy water gets recycled and not discharged into our waterways. If you do it at home, clean on the green, making sure that you wash your car over a grassy area, a vegetated area. Anything that your car drives through, whether that's dirt or other chemicals, or there's any oil spills on your car when you wash your car, all of that gets washed off with the soap and water as well. So using environmentally friendly cleaning products and using it sparingly can help reduce the pollutants when you wash your car. A little bit of soap and a lot of elbow grease goes a long way. So making sure that you use that soap sparingly so you reduce the pollutants. Pouring any of the leftover soapy water down a sink or into a toilet when you're done. Not just dumping that down your driveway or into the gutters. Like we said, the stormwater gutters lead into streams and oceans, so you don't want any of those chemicals to be discharged. And then not allowing any of the dirty water from your car wash to enter a storm drain or street. Landscaping. Like we said, disposing of the grass clippings in a compost bin or trash bin. Any grass clippings, leaf litter, if you prune your trees or bushes, those should all go in a compost bin or trash bin. Keeping landscaping waste out of the storm drains, making sure that those are all swept up and disposed of. Checking your landscaping equipment for leaks, your lawnmower, making sure that there's no leaks there, and if there are, keeping it stored over a drip pan and under cover. It keeps it out of contact with stormwater runoff where that could pick up any leaks, or a lot of times the lawnmowers get covered in grass clippings and we don't want those to be washed off by the rain. Storing the, we covered that one, but also covering bare spots with seeds or other stabilization methods. Like we talked about, dirt is also a potential pollutant for stormwater. We don't want that carried into the storm drain. It impacts the turbidity of the water, making it difficult for sunlight to go through. Fertilizers, using those only if and where needed, using those sparingly, considering compost to replace fertilizer. So all of that grass clippings and leaf litter, those can go into the compost bin, as well as your dog poop that has a lot of nutrients in it. It makes a great fertilizer replacement. You can put that, we use it in our gardens or with the landscaping, putting it at the bottom of trees and bushes. So if you've considered starting up a composting bin, I hope this encourages you to give it a go. They're really easy to use. Again, with fertilizers, only applying the instructed amount. On the back of the bottle, there should be a description of how much should be used. Don't over apply those. Avoid using them on hard surfaces where they can easily run off, get carried into stormwater. And then if you're using it on soil, you can till the top 4 inches of the soil so that the fertilizer gets integrated into your vegetation, and that helps avoid keeping that fertilizer right on the top where it can easily be swept up by stormwater, which leads us to our last point of don't apply before it rains. Anything that's on the top, a lot of times if you apply fertilizers right before a rainstorm, they don't have time to integrate themselves. And you want to use your products, if you're going to use products like fertilizers or herbicides, you want to make sure that they're being put to good use and where you're using them, not carried off by stormwater. It's bad for the stormwater and it's bad for what your intended purpose was. So with that, herbicides and pesticides, again, only using those if absolutely necessary. They shouldn't be used on hard surfaces, like if there's a weed in the crack of the sidewalk, making sure that you target just that area so that additional herbicides and pesticides don't get on the concrete and that easily gets carried off. If you have to mix and store chemicals, do that in a secure area away from drains and water bodies. Rinsing empty containers 3 times before throwing them away. That goes along with if there's still liquid in the container, making sure that you properly dispose of that. Once you dispose of that container, we don't want any liquid to be sitting in the bottom of the trash can, or if there's a leak or a crack in the trash bin, having that liquid and those chemicals discharging from your trash bin and flowing into our waterways. So just make sure that you rinse that 3 times before you dispose of it. Again, don't apply any of those before a rain event. Waste disposal. So putting any trash in dumpsters, that's similar to when you're at the beach and you see water bottles or little wrappers, just making sure that you go that extra mile to make sure that it gets into a trash can or a closed lid dumpster. Making sure that the trash bin isn't overflowing. I see that a lot when I walk around and notice the trash bins. If they're overflowing, there's almost always litter on the bottom of the trash can. Just take it to the next one, put the litter in your pocket, wait until you see a trash can that isn't overflowing. not only will that just get carried into the street, but as soon as a strong gust of wind comes, everything on the top of the dumpster just gets pushed off. Closing the dumpster lids is really important as well. If there's a rain event and the dumpster's open, the stormwater that runs into the dumpster can intermingle with any pollution or all of the trash. And once that stormwater leaves the trash bin, we call that trash gravy, and it's no longer clean stormwater, and that is unsafe to be discharging into our storm drains. So along with that, check your bins for leaks. If there is any remaining liquid, we don't want that to escape. It should be properly disposed of. And then storing dumpsters away from storm drains. So a lot of times when we push our dumpsters out onto the side of the road, just making sure that those are as far from storm drains. If it's a windy day, the dumpster might fall over and discharge litter into storm drains. So think twice before you put your dumpster out, making sure that it's far away from a storm drain. Following instructions for proper disposal of products. I know I've seen a lot of announcements for hazardous waste events. So if you have something that can't be disposed of just in a dumpster, making sure that all of those products get disposed of properly and using environmentally friendly products. On our stormwater management webpage, which we have a link for, I'll post it in our Q&A chat soon. We have a lot of resources on our page. I'd love for you guys to go check them out and see if anything piques your interest. A lot of what we talked about today is in our stormwater management residence guide. That's a great thing to print out, put it on your fridge. If you have an office space or you work in a school, print those out and share it. They have just quick, easy tips for day-to-day things that you can do to help benefit stormwater quality. If you have more specialized things, we have property maintenance brochures, the automotive industry brochure, green waste management brochure, and the soap selection info sheet. There's a lot of different resources on that page. I really encourage you to check them out. A section on our webpage is also the stormwater concern reporting. If you see something in the community, if there's anything running into the storm drains, you can snap a picture. There's a phone number and an email. Just send it over to us. We love to get in contact with people and educate others on what's safe for our stormwater systems and get to the bottom of it and make sure that we don't have any illicit discharges running into our storm drains. Following county social media for our announcements, we have a lot of volunteer events like beach cleanups or storm drain stenciling events. We would love to have some more involvement on that, have a little education moment, and get more of the community involved. So I will go to our Q&A page if anybody has questions. Let me see if I can access our Q&A, and I will post our stormwater management page webpage in there. Oh, it doesn't look like. Can I post it in the chat? Will people see it in the chat?
Yes, the chat. Well, the chat should work. Yeah.
All right. There we go. There's our webpage.
Perfect. Thank you, Abby. It's always good to be reminded about, things that we can do to prevent pollution and runoff, especially here when so often everything finds its way to the ocean. I was also going to say I will be using some of these resources for our reef-friendly landscaping program that we have with Maui Nui Marine Resource Council, because we are assisting and encouraging properties to stop using fertilizers and any kind of chemicals like pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides, and working with a local company here to kind of restore soil microbiology that then can kind of store some of that stormwater runoff a lot better. So it's good to, a lot of people are working in this area, and it's great to have your expertise available. So thank you for sharing. And we have time for Q&A, and we also have Mickey Slentz. I want to make sure I said that correctly. Mickey works for Haley and Aldrich as a senior project engineer. She has a Bachelor of Science degree in civil engineering with an environmental focus from California Polytechnic State University, Pomona. She's a licensed civil engineer in the states of Hawaii and California and is a certified professional in erosion and sediment control. Mickey has 11 years of experience in NPDES compliance, implementing agency-specific MS4 requirements, and managing regional water quality management programs. Her experience includes reviewing construction plans and documents for MS4 permits and best management practice compliance. So thank you for being here, Mickey. Really appreciate it. We have some questions coming into the Q&A, so I'll go ahead and read them out loud and then have you both answer them according to who wants to. Okay, here we go. What can we do about the brown muddy water that is running down from upcountry? Someone was up on Olinda Street yesterday and the muddy water was running right down the road.
Yeah, I can take that one. So, you know, that's very multifaceted. There's a lot of things that go into sediment entering the storm water and then eventually discharging into the ocean. So, you know, it's one of the reasons that the program brand is Mauka to Makai, because everything Mauka also ends up Makai. So on your property, if you see that there's any sediment discharging from your property, you can try maybe lining that property with gravel bags or sandbags to keep that sediment on your property and then dispose of it properly. You can also, one big issue is if you have a bare lot, then that creates a lot of sediment transport through stormwater. So if you vegetate your property, that's less likely to have sediment runoff and enter the storm drain and eventually the ocean. It sounds like it probably wasn't your property, so that complicates the issue a little bit. You know, maybe try to educate your neighbors. But ultimately, I know that the county is working on trying to figure out some larger projects to help, you know, reduce the sediment that is entering the storm drain system. You know, so some of the things that they're thinking about include putting up fences to reduce the amount of hooved animals that are tracking near water bodies. It creates a lot of bare areas, which increases the erosion potential. So it's a long answer. What you can do as a resident is just to make sure that your property is protected by erosion. So just make sure that you have your bare landscape is vegetated. If you can't vegetate it, there's other ways to reduce the erosion potential. So I'm happy to talk offline about that as well if you have additional questions on specific ways that you can help reduce erosion potential and sediment discharge.
Great. Thank you, Mickey. Another one, they wanted to confirm about a comment about putting dog poop in a composting bin. I don't know if maybe that was, yeah. I don't know the answer to that, so I'll let you address it.
Yeah, dog poop is very high in nutrients, so it works well as a fertilizer. You can put it in your composting bin and it composts down just the same as grass and leaf litter. I will say that it might not be safe to put in a garden that this is not stormwater related, but just a health note. Don't put it in anything where you're growing foods or things that you're going to eat, because like we said, it does carry bacteria and pathogens, but it breaks down the same. It works great as compost and fertilizer.
Great. Thanks for clarifying that. And then what do you know the name, or what is the name of the county office that people could contact with any more questions as well?
Yes, you can contact Abby's emails up there, her phone number's up there. You can contact her directly if you'd like. The county department that we work with, the Department of Public Works, the Highways Division mostly, but all of the divisions, or I shouldn't say all, but a lot of the divisions do their part to help with the environment. There's also the Environment Protection and Sustainability Division. I'm probably butchering that, but they do a lot of stuff as well. We don't work with them directly, but the stormwater aspect is managed by the Highways Division.
Great. Yeah, I had a question too. I don't know how closely linked you are for in terms of like infrastructure upgrades or development. If you're not, I mean, do you know anything about kind of infrastructure like drainage ways and how to kind of convey water better, or, you know, store water in a way so that's not all, you know, all of the brown water going out onto the reefs? Kind of what does that look like?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do that. So there's sediment basins that can be incorporated into the storm drainage system. The challenge with those is actually cleaning them out. So if it's a stream that's constantly flowing, then it's more difficult to clean out a sediment basin without discharging sediment, the whole reason that you would have a sediment basin. So there's always challenges with maintenance. There's other methods that are more low impact development. So those would be more on a small scale. So infiltration systems, biofiltration systems, those things are great to incorporate if you have the chance to incorporate it. But it's typically done through, you know, a new project that's coming through. So, you know, if you have a subdivision going in or something, the county will require for post-construction B&Ps to be incorporated so that it reduces the amount of runoff that's flowing off of the property.
Do you know of any infrastructure upgrades that the county has planned? I mean, we don't work so much, but we're starting to work down in Kihei to address some of those flooding issues. And, you know, the conversation that comes up is some of the infrastructure is undersized. So I didn't know if you knew anything about it, or if you work in that area. You know, there's so much sediment in Kalaniakoi Gulch or Drainage Way or whatever it is called now. So I'm curious, you know, if we're here to learn more about it, if you know anything.
Yeah, it's a huge problem, and the county is definitely aware of how huge a problem is, especially because they have to respond to all of these flood events. There are master plans that have been developed and are being looked at for updates. As far as projects that are planned, I'm not keyed into that specifically. We are helping the county try to get a plan together, but you know, it's more starting with what is feasible and then going from there. But it's certainly an area of interest for the county. They're looking from multiple angles to try to figure out how we can solve it, because it's getting worse. And you know, something needs to happen. It's just a question of what, and working with the existing infrastructure and budget.
Right. Yeah, there's a big problem, and there's there's a lot of good restoration work happening, Makai side of the highway down in some of the wetland areas. And so that's, kind of more of a, I guess, nature-based solution or idea, different than your retention, like classic retention basin where you'd have to maintain it and things. So I know that there are some community groups that are kind of working on a little bit of on a more I guess hands-on pulling out invasives or kind of restoring some of those natural areas. And we'll actually, Maui Nui Marine Resource Council is trying to work in that area of how to address some of these flooding issues. So I'm sure we will be crossing paths more in the future to look at how to remediate some of these problems. And yeah, I know someone has their hand raised in the participant window here. If you have your hand raised, would love to, if you can, if you have a question, you can type it into the chat, which you can find at the bottom of your screen, or into the Q&A box as well. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type those in, and then we'll read them out loud for you all. I don't see any more in the Q&A, but I'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, it's really insightful. Always good reminders. I live up country, so it's been raining a ton up here. And it's very windy, and there's lots of debris just from the trees and plants that are ending up in the streets. So it's very important to, I guess, clean it up, but then it's like it's all over my driveway. I can't keep up. Okay, we do have another Q&A or question. Any suggestions about doing quote unquote stormwater friendly car washes?
Yes. Is this a question about somebody hosting one? Any ideas on those maybe? Because Mickey, did you have a response on that one?
Yeah, I mean, so suggestions about how to do a stormwater friendly car wash. There's multiple approaches that you can take. Abby went over a few of them in her presentation. Stormwater friendly is basically trying to reduce the amount of water that you use, try to use environmentally friendly products, clean on the green, like we like to say. So trying not to wash on impervious surfaces. So impervious surfaces are concrete, asphalt, anything that is going to create runoff. So you want to wash on grass if you can. If you can't wash on grass, you'll want to try to collect that water and properly dispose of it. So we've done this before where we put up, like water barriers and collected the water, and we just were out there with a bucket and got the water in the bucket and then dumped it into a green space that could easily absorb that water. So there's a lot of different techniques that you can take to make a car wash more stormwater friendly or ocean friendly, environmentally friendly, however you want to call it. We're also working on developing a kit with the county so that you'll be able to rent stormwater friendly or ocean friendly materials for your car wash. There's also a few locations, actually. My coworker was just saying that she was driving down, she was over at the college the other day, and they were hosting a stormwater friendly car wash there. They have this area where it's actually pervious pavement, and they were washing on the pervious pavement and it was all infiltrating in the ground. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to make your car wash more stormwater friendly. And always, if you can't do that in a stormwater environmentally friendly way, the next alternative is to go to a recycled car wash, because a lot of the car washes on Maui recycle their water because they can't discharge to the sewer system, so they recycle their water.
Great. I also, there are other resources that are similar to what you're sharing through the West Maui Kumuvai. They have a lot of, I don't know if you've heard of them, but they have a lot of stormwater management resources, as well as pledges that you can take that kind of offer very similar solutions of, washing your car on a pervious surface or on the grass, using, following fertilizer labels, that sort of thing. So lots of good resources as well. Is there any impetus to increase the use of pervious pavement on new construction on Maui?
I can take this one too. So the county does require for certain post-construction BMPs to be implemented for certain construction projects. They do not specify what type. So saying that you have to have impervious or pervious pavement is not something that the county does or will do, mostly because pervious pavement actually takes a lot of maintenance. It's actually super expensive to maintain. I love pervious pavement. I love just watching the water infiltrate, and it's really cool to watch, but it's very difficult to maintain. So there's other ways to incorporate infiltration than just pervious pavement. You can direct the water to a biofiltration or a bioinfiltration basin. You can direct it to a subsurface infiltration system. So there's actually a few subsurface infiltration systems around the county that you wouldn't even know are there, but the water is being infiltrated underneath the parking lot.
Yeah, that's cool. I like all of the green infrastructure ideas and options for pervious surfaces. I never really registered that it would be difficult to maintain, so that's an interesting thing to consider as well.
Yeah, because it gets clogged very easily. So it has to be vacuumed every year. And it's a specialized type of equipment that does that. So it's actually really expensive.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's great for low trafficked areas. A parking lot that's used really often is not typically the best use of pervious pavement. But if you have maybe a driveway that is just for residents, a wonderful use of pervious pavement. Or if you have a walkway, instead of using concrete for the walkway, then you would use pervious concrete. Excellent use of pervious surfaces. But parking lots are a little challenging because of the maintenance implications.
Has there been any discussion about a regional stormwater management park that is like a big green space that maybe up above, and again, I'm stuck on Kihei, but up above Pi'ilani Highway, having like a big green space with pervious surface walking paths and like rain gardens, or just one big kind of like regional stormwater management park. And this was brought up by a colleague of something that she would like to see in the area too. But are those part of a discussion of how to manage stormwater, or, just another creative?
I haven't heard of anything specifically. I know we keep talking about Kihei, but Kihei is such a huge issue because it's a large amount of water, and most of it is coming from upcountry. So it's hard to divert that into even if it's a regional BMP, those regional BMPs aren't made for an entire watershed. They're made for, smaller regions. I don't know of anything that is currently being planned for the county. There are a few quote unquote regional BMPs in Wailuku for subdivisions. The whole subdivision uses a regional infiltration basin that they discharge to instead of a impervious infiltration or storm water system. But I don't know of anything in particular. I'd really be interested to talk offline with you and anybody else from MRC about different options, because the county is definitely looking at it, especially for Kihei. It's something that the county really wants to implement, and we're really trying to figure out what the best approach is, because it needs to be practical, but also it needs to be environmentally sound.
Right. Yeah, great points. Yeah, because there is that, the CPAC meetings are happening as well for the Kihei community plan, and I'm sure there could be something incorporated into that about managing stormwater better in there too. Great. Yes, I have learned a lot, and I love getting to get to know both of you and more about what you do. So thank you so much for just sharing and providing your expertise and also your contact information. I haven't seen any more questions coming through, but if questions do come in and you would like to type answers, you're more than welcome to. We also have your contact information here. That's Abby's. I didn't know if Mickey, you wanted to share yours as well, ways that people can get in touch with you, and we can share that with participants. In case people didn't know, this presentation was also recorded. It's also being shared to Facebook Live, and it will be posted to our YouTube channel at Maui Reefs as well. Thank you both again for being here today. I'll go ahead and wrap up with our closing announcements and other ways that we can get involved to help Maui's environment a bit more. So thank you both again. And thank you to everyone else who is here and still in attendance. We greatly appreciate all of your participation. So these presentations, they are sponsored by the County of Maui Office of Climate Change, Resiliency, and Sustainability. We're just going to get up our closing slides here shortly so that you all will be able to see them. Again, these presentations are on the first Wednesday of every month at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom. Our next Know Your Ocean Speaker Series event will take place on Wednesday, April 6th at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom, where we will hear from a few different speakers sharing about how to get involved with citizen science projects on Maui. So you can sign up for this talk and learn about future presentations through our subscription to our monthly e-newsletter, Reef and Brief, and you can sign up at mauireefs.org. You can also support our community-based water quality monitoring program, Hui Okavaiola, by adopting your favorite beach or becoming a trained water quality sampling volunteer This program, launched and conducted by Maui Nui Marine Resource Council, the Nature Conservancy, and West Maui Ridge to Reefs Initiative in partnership with the State of Hawaii Department of Health Clean Water Branch, tests ocean water quality every 3 weeks in West and South Maui across 29 locations. To learn more about getting involved in this community-run program, visit huiokavaiola.com. The Maui Nui Makai Network will be hosting their Malama Ike Kai speaker series on Thursday, March 16th at 5 p.m. via Zoom. The Maui Nui Makai Network is a network of community and partner groups across Maui Nui that care for ecosystems on which Hawaii's people depend. The speaker series features case studies and experiences of Indigenous and local community management of marine areas, co-management, replenishment, and protected area planning, and community engagement. You can sign up at mauinui.net. Have you heard about our Aqualink buoys? Last year, MNMRC staff members deployed 3 buoys, pictured here on the left, just offshore of Kalama Park, Ma'alaya Bay, and Olowalu. The buoys transmit live data about water temperature, wind, and wave action, and you can view all of that data from Maui and other buoys around the world in real time at aqualink.org/map. When you donate to Maui Nui Marine Resource Council, you'll be supporting projects such as our oyster bioremediation project to improve ocean water quality in Ma'alaya. The oysters in Ma'alaya Bay are still working hard to filter sediment out of the water column, and we look forward to sharing that data as we continue to check them every other week. If you have missed some or all of tonight's presentation, again, this is being recorded, so you'll be able to view it on Facebook Live or on our Maui Nui Marine Resource Council Facebook page. It will also be posted on our YouTube channel at Maui Reefs. You can follow us on social media as well for any updates and news. And last but not least, we want to thank our sponsors and supporters who are making our work possible. And we also wish to thank individual donors like you for attending our speaker series each month. Mahalo for making a difference, and mahalo for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you in April. Aloha.